I do believe that means we're live.
That is.
So, with today's constant cultural and racial divide, would you be willing to date someone outside of your own race? What about 10 years ago? 20? You're a dick. First time we try this and you ruin it. I'm going to try this again. Take it from the top, guys. Take it from the top. All right.
Take two.
With today's constant cultural and racial divide, would you be willing to date someone outside your own race? What about 10 years ago? 20 years ago? Well, we conducted a poll, and the results were shocking. Stay tuned for that and the Acosta-Trump battle, CNN sues, midterms that never end, and more coming up tonight on the Unframe of Mind show.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse of your life. Your host, Daniel Wagner, battles the forces of evil by lobbing fiery balls of truth, reason, and evidence over safe room walls.
All right, and welcome to the Unframe of Mind show. Hashtag Wednesday Wisdom Edition. Prepare yourself for some uncomfortable conversations without a condom. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
And I'm Anthony Trawick.
And we are ready to rock your socks off today.
Oh, yeah.
So how's your week been anyway? We barely talked. I mean, it's been like, I know we're trying to prepare for a show, but at the same time, we've like...
Well, I think with the holidays coming up, everybody's kind of chaotic, you know, and trying to kind of get settled into Thanksgiving, and then you got Christmas coming up and the New Year's, and so for me, it's been busy with work, and I know it has been for you as well. So, but what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving this year?
Dude, probably visiting family, and then visiting family, and then visiting family, all over the place. We're probably I like 6 pounds left to lose till I'm in my like target weight, and I'm probably gonna like totally sabotage that. It's gonna ruin it completely.
That's where you got to buy some of those spandex pants, you know. That way you can just eat all that food you want and just keep on trucking.
I was
to the
thinking
next stop.
like maternity pants would be good.
There you go.
You know, get
Yeah.
like something I can wear to work. You know, something I can wear. You know, like. Like spandex, you know, I like that.
You'll be the talk of work, that's for sure.
Matter of fact, there was a guy that came into work the other day wearing his sister's leggings under his work shorts.
Hey, no judgment zone here, I promise.
No, it was all good. It was all good.
Yeah.
At any rate, so I guess we'll roll right in. We've got a couple people joining us today. I'd like to thank you guys for hopping in and taking a chance on us tonight. We've got a number of topics to hit on before we hit our main topic. But if you stick around, I think you'll enjoy what we got in store for you. If you haven't noticed, we got a new background, so that's pretty cool. I finally got off my ass and installed a green screen behind us, so Ms. Producer can switch it over to something that's like really flashy and cool like this. Oh, there it is. Hey, she does take direction well. Like, check that shit out. Very cool. So at any rate, if you guys enjoy the show and if you like what you're hearing, or if you don't, pipe it in the comment section, and we'll be sure to interact with you guys as we see fit, or if we want to. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll decide. Depends on what you say. Please make fun of us as much as you want. We love that. I love that. I don't know. He gets kind of pouty and goes home and cries.
I gotta find my safe space, man. You know, I gotta find that little puppy and get some crayons and coloring books, and yeah.
Yeah, you got the little adult coloring books, right?
I do.
The ones that say cuss words on them. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so when you color in the word fuck, it's like, you know, I want to make it a sky blue.
It's really calming. It's a calming fuck.
Oh.
Anyway, so let me hop in here and talk about the midterm elections just for a brief moment. I know this stuff has probably worn you guys the hell out, and I don't want to necessarily run y'all off over this topic, so we won't be long, I promise. But it's just it's pretty interesting, and I wanted to talk about this from more of a philosophical angle.
All right.
And point out, you know, that we've got Broward County, Florida, we've got Palm Beach, Florida, we've got Maricopa County, Arizona, and as of 6 hours ago or so, when I was researching it, Gwinnett County in Georgia still have not finished up their vote counting. And it's just become a complete mess. And you've got both sides going, "You're cheating." And they were like, "No, I'm not. I'm only cheating when you want to win. You only cheat when you want to win." It's like,
you know what, I
see
find
this bickering back and forth.
Well, I find that it's interesting because all the votes that they're finding are all Democratic. Not one of them are Republican. So it's like,
well, that's not true. What I'm hearing is there's about a third of them or so are Republican, but the majority of them are Democratic votes. Yeah, it just seems awful fishy. And a matter of fact, it's just there's a number of things I keep hearing about. Like there's a piece in LifeZet magazine online that talks about the emergency polling stations. That'll be tab 1 if you wouldn't mind bringing that up, ma'am. But there's like these emergency polling stations that apparently only one side of the political divide even knew were going to be a thing. So it seems awful fishy.
Right.
It's like, and that's not even legal. So according to this LifeSet article, curiously, McSally, who lost amid the existence of emergency polling stations that only one party was aware of, as well as bizarre attempts to cure ballots contrary to state law, appears unwilling to take Democrats to task on why this highly suspicious win. Democrats will go to any lengths to win, says Laura Ingram.
But this is something that's been pretty common throughout the years with late votes being tallied and and so forth. We saw that during Al Gore's run at president, and Florida had to be recounted I don't know how many times, and so I mean this is nothing new, and it just seems like this is part of the spectrum when it comes to the elections and something that we've just kind of grown accustomed to.
It's the same exact thing that was going on down in Broward County, same county. This has already been happening multiple times. There was I've listed this in my voting article. We'll bring that up here in a little bit, but between Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Canova, Tim Canova, I believe was his name, and the same election commission, same problems. Constant history of corruption, but that's not really the point of what I wanted to bring this up for to begin with. What I really wanted to talk about was the confidence in the election process. In order for democracy to work, you kind of have to have confidence in the election process, and it was just very interesting to see the way different people talk about this stuff at work and the friends I interact with online and stuff. Just the way they're talking about it, it's like they don't really trust the voting process.
Well, and I think that's been majority of the public for some time now. Like I said earlier, I don't think this is something that's new. It's just at some point you kind of want these people to get their shit together and go ahead and get this tallied up and move on, with it. We obviously know that the Democrats have taken the House back, and of course the Republicans have maintained the Senate. So with knowing that, it's for it to go out this long is just ridiculous. It really is. And people get burned out on it. I know we do, because we get tired of talking about it. We want to move on from it.
So Miss Cora, she's actually been on the show before. I appreciate you hopping in, Miss Cora, but she says the other guy sounds black, whatever that means.
I sound black?
Well, he's not exactly white.
Well, no, not really.
Cloud9 Customs 1, Florida, a.k.a. Hanging Chad. Yeah, that was a big one. And that's actually listed. If matter of fact, I spent a great deal of time writing this voting article. It's at unframeofmind.com/voter, and I went through and made a whole number of different things. It's called the Politician's Guide to Rigging. Winning the election. And I just went through and just wrote down in a whole bunch of different ways that the politicians keep rigging elections. It's a how-to guide for how to rig elections, but it's just kind of tongue-in-cheek. And if you want to go check that out and share that out, I would greatly appreciate that. Let people know what to expect. It was a lot of fun to put together, written very tongue-in-cheek, kind of sarcastically, but there's that. So I suppose we'll try to make this much smoother transition into the next topic, because that was awkward as hell.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, that's kind of what I want to talk about, was just the confidence in elections and how effective are elections if people don't even trust the results.
Well, I mean, you got to think too. A lot of the Americans said, I really don't trust politics as it is. So, when you're kind of going to stuff like this, you're just kind of getting fed up with it. So. But, it's a part of it, unfortunately, and, it's going to be probably after the first of the year before everything's, finally tallied.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, until I think we get some kind of system like a paper ballot only type scenario, voting on voting day, on election day only, you're just gonna keep seeing shit like this. They want it to be ambiguous. They want it to be kind of this ethereal process that you can't really put your finger on, because that's where they're allowed to come in and throw in a couple hundred votes here, 1,000 votes there, 250 votes there. They can each individual story doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but when you bring them all together throughout a statewide election, then all of a sudden it becomes a very big deal, and you can actually swing elections that are really close. You know, some of these things are on a razor sharp, thin edge between, you know, winning and losing.
Well, and you also, you know, people want to know why we don't trust the government or politicians. Well, this is another perfect example as to why, you know. So
right.
it is what it is at this point, you know, and you know, when this process goes on as long as it does, you kind of wonder if your vote even matters anymore, you know. So I don't know. It just depends on who you are, and I did vote, but you know, like I said, when this thing, you know, continuously goes on in other states, you have to wonder if you feel like your vote even matters.
Yeah. What's
you
the
know?
point?
So,
What's the point?
Yeah, it's like that whole early voting, and now we're what, 2 weeks or a week out since the midterms, and it's just, you're like,
I think a lot of people are finding themselves kind of going galt on the whole thing. It's like,
yeah, pretty much.
So
moving on to the
moving
next
on. You
topic.
wanted to bring this one up. I wasn't super excited about it, but I brought it up anyway. So this is all you, homie.
What's that?
About the Trump Acosta whole debacle. I
You
did bring
know-
up some clips for you. So before we jump into it, let's play this. Let's play clip number 1 here and just see what the whole hubbub was about. If anybody wasn't paying attention, I'll reserve my commentary for later. All right. And playing. She'll get it. All right, so there it is. There it is. Oh, there it is again. All right, that's it. So
The fact that it's CNN.
fill me in.
Okay, so
What was this about? Why did it happen? What's the hubbub?
Well, you know, our boy Jimmy over here from CNN has a bad habit of disrupting. You know, when it comes to asking questions at the White House,
Yeah.
and he doesn't want to seem to, just to shut up. You know, it's one of those situations where CNN has seriously gone off the deep end, and you know, when the president tells you that he's not taking any more questions from you and he's moving on to somebody else, and then you have a White House staffer that's going to take the mic from you, just give her the mic. But the fact that you sat there and you stuck your arm out to prevent her from taking it, that's where this right here kind of bothers a lot of people, because it shows even more disrespect, you know, and it's just something that you just don't do this. And
Just click somewhere else.
you know, the fact that Trump is continuously keep calling, you know, the media, what is it, the
enemy of the people.
the enemy of the people, I think that's a bit much. But I think he's got it out for CNN as much as CNN's got it out for him.
Right.
And because of that, it's created this feud ever since, you know, Trump has been in office.
Oh,
and it's been going on and
he
on
has
and on.
clarified, by the way, that he's not talking about journalism as a whole being the enemy of the people. He's not talking about the media.
Right.
He's talking
Right.
about companies like CNN,
Yeah,
like
no,
MSNBC,
I mean,
like the Washington Post, and like the New York Times. Right.
Yeah, but basically everybody but Fox News at this point.
yeah, but even them, honestly.
So, I mean, it's just he had his credentials pulled from the White House indefinitely. I have not heard anything else. Now, CNN has decided to sue the White House, or I guess, you know, his staff, for pulling his credentials, saying it's a violation of the First Amendment, and, you know, and I'm not sure what the other ones were behind that, but I think CNN just wanted something to be able to go after Trump for, and this is it. You know, and I don't think the backlash that CNN is realizing what's going to happen with this, because a lot of people, a lot of his supporters, his core supporters, just think that CNN is straight up fake news. So,
Right.
I mean, this has just been a joke.
I want to show you a little clip I found, just referring to the initial Jim Acosta striking the young lady or whatever, because
Right.
that's kind of what, you know, when I'm hearing all these different conversations and stuff. I saw the clip, and it's like hang on before you play it, but it's like he's talking about the right is talking about him striking a woman. And the left is, the left is like, no, he was just, you know, pushing her away or whatever, you know.
If you want me to be honest with
so-
you, it's kind of like when you have like a 5-year-old,
That was exactly what I was about to say.
You know, he's tugging on your shirt, and he's tugging on your shirt, you know, and then you just finally just put your hand in the way to get him to stop. To me, that's kind of what I think that it is. Nothing more than him just putting his arm in the way, just, you know, telling her, you're not going to take the mic from me. I don't think that there was any kind of vicious. I don't know how you would classify that. I don't think there was any
no malintent.
Yeah,
no,
there wasn't.
See, that wasn't even what I was going to say. I thought you were going the same direction, but you weren't. But the direction I was going to go is it's this whole thing. The after effect. I'm not talking about the event itself. I'm talking about the after effect.
The way that it's spun. Yeah.
It feels like It feels like a couple of kids.
Child abuse.
Well, no. It feels like a couple of kids were fighting and going, "Mommy, he hit me." No, I didn't. Mom, yeah, he did. Watch the camera.
The bantering back and forth between the two.
Like, what are y'all doing? Yeah. Like, we've got serious shit to deal with, and we want to talk about how hard Jim Acosta hit the young intern. Like, who gives a shit? I really don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit myself.
I mean, I don't either, because I think this is being played out more than it should be, to be honest with you. When you go back and look at the video, it happens so quickly. It's not... Yeah. I don't think, and as much as I hate to say this, and I'm not a big fan of CNN or Jim, but for me personally, I don't think that there was any kind of ill intent with this. I think it was just a reaction to keep her from grabbing the mic, and I think that's all that it is.
That's all it was.
And it's, if I'm going to be fair about this, I don't think CNN was really in the wrong. Although when I say that, when the president is telling you to stop talking, just hush up and give the mic.
Yeah. We haven't even gotten into talking about what happened before all this. We're just talking about the exact moment. Let me play this clip here. And there's a couple more things I want to bring up about this, but
there was a controversy around a video shared by Press Secretary Sarah Sanders on Twitter of a heated exchange between President Donald Trump and CNN reporter Jim Acosta. The exchange was at a press conference after the midterm elections. Afterwards, the White House revoked Acosta's press credentials. Sanders shared the video, saying the incident was why Acosta had been banned from the White House.
Check it out.
Accusations quickly surfaced that the footage had been doctored. So was it? And how can we tell? Well, if we think about video, each frame is a picture. And if you put all those pictures together, it creates motion. At first glance, it doesn't seem like there's much of a difference. But I know that if you take it frame by frame, and you can count it with me, we have Sanders over here and the original over here. We have 1, 2, 3 frames that don't move. You can count them with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. This one's moving, this one's not. And that creates an impact. What difference might that make? Well, I actually consulted an expert, and that's Jackie Chan.
The audience, the eyes contract cannot that fast to change. When you suddenly boom, boom, you change the second film, the audience just, that's so quick.
One of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. I'm Mr. President.
Right there. You see it? So whatever the intentions originally were, I can safely say that there were alterations made, and they have made quite an impact.
No pun intended.
I don't think it really mattered. He still did it. So at the end of the day, I mean, I understand where he's coming from.
It's meant to bolster the right's argument that he struck this young lady.
Yeah. Like the malice intent was a lot worse than than what it is. But the fact that the bottom line is the man shouldn't have not put his hands on the woman for grabbing the mic.
Hell, I don't even think I wouldn't even go that far. I'd say, hey, he was just kind of reacting to the situation.
Yeah, I mean,
he was focused on Trump with the mic, high pressure situation. She's kind of just here. She doesn't really exist in his world.
Well, you can see the look on her face, like she wasn't expecting him to do that.
Right. Well, she probably wasn't. But
no, and I think the Trump administration basically found something to get him with, and this was it. I think they were looking for any reason to pull his press credentials.
Yeah,
and they got it.
But it just goes to show you that it's not just the doctor's video footage to try to create this propaganda around their narrative.
It's both sides
all the time. They keep doing this. So I mean, this is why it's so fun to sit on the outside of all this as neither a lefty or a righty necessarily and go, you guys are so stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are so ridiculous. You keep doing this shit. But, oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I thought it was interesting. So, just something to kind of stir the pot, I guess.
That's the other thing I want to say is the whole thing. I was listening to like the Young Turks, and they were talking about it. They played the clip too, and they played from the point. No, what did they do? Whatever it was, they cut off some important information. They cut off the beginning of the vocal exchange between Acosta and Trump.
Yeah,
and they made it sound like, well, Trump was just a raving lunatic yelling at Acosta, but they didn't play the part at the beginning where he was actually bickering back and forth with him, trying to like make the whole thing into a debate, which that's not what it is. And they've spun the whole story as if, well, Acosta was asking the tough questions, so Trump didn't like that, and he kicked him out.
Well, this was no different back when he was calling when he was calling MS-13 animals. I don't know if you remember that segment. It was a sheriff. It was a sheriff that had asked Trump a question about his thoughts of the MS-13 gang members, and the part that was left out before, on that clip was the question being asked by the sheriff.
Yep, little
so
selective
the only
editing.
clip that you got, and that was played all over the media, was Trump calling illegal immigrants or MS-13 animals. And of course,
they didn't even associate with MS-13. They just made it sound like he was calling Mexicans animals.
Right.
That was the way the left spun it.
The sheriff was talking about MS-13, so let me back that up. So Trump was talking about MS-13, but that's what you didn't hear. All you heard was the snibbited clip of Trump calling, them animals. And the next thing you know it's like the media has a heyday with this. And it just goes to show that no matter who you are in the media outlet, you'll do anything for a story, and it's all about clicks and it's all about views.
All right. So, and the last thing we want to show here was the fact that I think it was tab 6 here. CNN is actually suing for suing Trump and the top White House aides for barring Jim Acosta. It's like, I don't know what you can sue him. From what I understand, the whole thing they're suing him over is that they're trying to take away his freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And shut down the press.
Yeah.
It's like, that's completely false. I mean, from what I understand, there's at least 2 more CNN people in there. He's not kicking CNN out. He was just kicking Jim Acosta's, taking his credentials away.
Yeah, because it says right there, it says the suit alleges that Acosta and CNN's First and Fifth Amendment rights are being violated by the band. So that was kind of something I alluded to earlier, was the fact that it's a direct violation of the First Amendment. But this is where you're treading that very thin line right now, with being in the media, and of course with Trump's not going to have anything to do with it. But I don't think it's so much the First Amendment that there's a violation of. I think it was the fact that he actually put his hands on a White House staffer or intern. And I think that's where people need to understand that this isn't he's just wanting to take his rights away from, the First and Fifth Amendment. It's just the simple fact that, you shouldn't put your hands on a young lady.
And they also shouldn't have sat there and tried to keep asking questions and keep causing a ruckus.
But he has been doing this for some time.
I think it was just finally straw. Yeah, I get it. I can see both sides.
And
of
like
this,
I said, I think this just gave him the opportunity to ban CNN altogether. Well, at least Jim Acosta anyways. So, but
I got you. All right. Well, I think we're going to move into the big topic of tonight's show, the idea of interracial dating in today's day and age. This was a fun little project we decided to put on, and I think we'll do a little more like this. We had decided to put up a poll asking people if they would be willing to date someone outside their race in today's hugely divided and cultural environment, And we've got on the Twitter poll, Facebook would only allow yes or no, or 2 options, right?
But that was the poll that I conducted.
Right. So we'll show you all of our results, but we had over 1,000 people respond to this altogether, and the Twitter poll was a little bit different. It had the options of yes, no, or no, but 10 years ago, yes. Like I would have thought about 10 years ago, but I wouldn't today, and it just kind of gives a sense of what direction people are going with the fact that everything seems to be constantly divided more and more, everybody wants to be everybody's enemy. Men versus women and white versus black and immigrant versus national. It's like the same thing we're hearing over and over again.
But
and
you wonder how much of
has
that
an effect.
is politically driven. That if you're a white man or a black woman or vice versa, but given
I'm both.
the climate,
I'm both of those.
Okay. Non-specific gender.
No,
Gender
specifically
fluid?
those. No, specifically those.
Okay. Do I need to use pronouns?
Nope.
Shit.
Nope.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to know that the recent the climate change in the political atmosphere has caused probably a lot of people to be more reserved about dating outside of their race. And I have talked to a couple of people from both ends of the spectrum here, and if you have some people, okay, black women, they will not date a Trump supporter. It is very rare. Now there are certain people that will, but not everybody. Had they had met this person probably during the Obama administration, that was a little bit different. And I just kind of sat there and I'm like, it's that much of a transition from when Obama was in office until Trump took office. It makes me wonder if those two people had gotten together during the Obama administration, how their relationship would have been impacted.
A lot of relationships have been broken up because of
right.
this. Right.
And when Trump took office, and if I was a supporter and and she wasn't, the racial division, unfortunately, is still very much a thing.
Well, it's simple. It's simple logic. I mean, understandably, if you are convinced that the president of the United States is a racist and he hates black people,
right,
and your spouse, who is not a black person, say you're a black woman and you married a white guy, or you're dating a white guy or whatever, and he is a Trump supporter, like logically, you would kind of have to assume that maybe your white boyfriend is a racist too. Like, you can't logically continue to date that person.
Well, and you would think that, or at least you would hope,
if you start with the basis of Trump is racist, point, period,
right,
blank,
and
the end.
Well, and I like to think that most average Americans have an IQ sense or level to know the difference between real racism and Trump apparently being called a racist. I mean, to each their own. And
have you been on social media at all?
No, not at all. I don't know rock, but
you dodged that bullet.
Yeah, I know, right? So for me, it's just I had sent you that link of 3 couples that were interviewed, talking about how the political climate has changed, obviously, with Trump being in office, and how difficult it is to be able to date outside of your race. Now, it also makes me, and it's not just with with black people and white people, but it's also if you married a Muslim, how does that going to impact, because back when he first took office, you had the travel ban and all this other stuff going on with Muslims. So it's
I think it's cute, by the way, that you keep adding a D to the end of the word ban. It's adorable.
Oh, did I? I didn't even realize I
multiple
was doing
times.
That. Oh, crap. Okay. Well, anyway.
I just wanted to wait for it. He's like, oh, he is doing that. So Cloud9 Customs once says, what about interracial porn? It has more views than same race porn currently. That's a good point. I mean, I think people are still honestly, I think people are still okay with the idea of it, but they just feel like, externally, culturally, outside in the real world, where it does have consequences to your family culture versus their family culture versus,
absolutely,
then you kind of hide that shit. It's like a guilty pleasure at this point, and it's sad because it didn't used to be like this 10, 15 years ago.
It almost seems like it's a little bit taboo, and I think that's one of the reasons why maybe people are watching the porn, that it's interracial rather than actually going out and doing it, because it's a safer way to be able to enjoy it rather than having to deal with the repercussions.
That does make some sense.
Life,
it's just,
so
it's just when you sit there and kind of step back from it all, it's like, man, I can't. It did not used to be this way. It used to, there was a time in history, of course, when interracial dating was a huge deal and people were pissed off about it and they would disown you for it. But then there was a period when it was like everybody's kind of cool with it. It's like whatever, nobody gives a shit. And now it's like kind of starting to drift back into where people are. Anyway, before we bring up the results and kind of show what we found, according to our admittedly unscientific polling, self-selective, if you will, were you surprised at all by the results of either one of the polls? Was there anything that made you go, wow, I did not see that coming?
Well, for somebody who has dated a black woman, actually 2 black women before in my life, I think it's a personal preference, obviously. Not everybody's going to agree to dating somebody outside of your race. It is a cultural thing. It is different to date somebody, a black woman versus a white woman. I know that. I've seen it. I've dealt with it. So for me, when I saw the poll results, I just couldn't believe how slanted they were. Facebook went one direction. Twitter went a completely different direction. So I'm kind of wondering, what the age bracket is of these people that are actually doing the poll, or not doing the polls, but actually, submitting their votes.
Right. So unfortunately, the problem with these kind of things,
there's no way of knowing.
Yeah, we don't get a sense of the demographics of the porn, except to say that the kind of people that shared it were, actually on both of them, it was kind of the same type of audience. I think there were more right-leaning audiences that got that shared it. So I don't know that other than that, we don't really have any demographic information other than.
Well, it's been proven that a lot of your older people tend to lean more towards Facebook than Twitter, which has been proven over the years. Twitter is more for your younger and social audience, just like Instagram is.
Right.
So for me, that's one of those things where you kind of have to take that into consideration. But there's really no way of knowing, when we conducted this poll. We wanted to see, because of the political climate that we're currently in right now and who's in office, how that would impact, your dating relations or your life as far as wanting to date somebody of the opposite, race. Like I said before, I think it's a personal preference. Would I date a black woman currently now and this climate that we're currently in with Trump being in office? I would, but it kind of falls in line with she would probably have to be Republican. Democratic and seeing how far left that they've gone, I think it would be very hard for me to
certainly have your reservations.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just that, but it's their friends, their family, and he's dating or she's dating a Trump supporter, and he's racist, and so you're really kind of getting a sense of that racial division already in place. And you really don't want to put somebody through that, but at the same time too, it's like whatever happened to people just being happy and screw everything else.
Right.
But that is not the climate we currently live in anymore.
That would be fantastic. And I think it's the fault of the damn media and politicians constantly trying to divide people.
And I think that's one of the reasons why it's become so hard to date outside of your race if you wanted to. Now, I don't know what your preference is as far as, what is your take on dating outside of your race?
I don't have any specific problem with it at all. I wouldn't care.
Have you before in the past?
I have not. I've not really dated that many people, though. I was married at a real young age. I didn't really date around a lot. I was kind of a real hopeless romantic and wanted to marry every girl I was with, which was probably like 5 girls from my school. But as far as I actually did have quite the crush on this one girl back in it's probably eighth grade or so. She was pretty well developed compared to the other girls. Had these legs that went on for miles. Just I think she was mixed. She lived with her mom, and we'd always hang out and talk. We'd sit at the bus stop and stuff. I had a good friendship with her, and I kind of had a crush on her, but I didn't have the balls to say anything.
Okay, well, let me rephrase the question. So, if you were a single man now, given the way everything's going on with the politics and what we're seeing, with blacks, and white people, would you consider dating outside of your race?
Again, I still wouldn't have a problem with it. I kind of recognize the whole political divide for what it is, and that wouldn't really be a contributing factor. More would be what would be a contributing factor for me is just seeing, using merit based, more of those judgments, finding out, what kind of goals they have, what kind of values they hold, that kind of thing.
So
that's really important.
You can't really not say that the political atmosphere doesn't affect or wouldn't affect if you were to date somebody that was black.
Well, there would be a lot more caution going into it than I probably would have a decade ago.
So it sounds like it's something that you would have to agree to disagree and move on from. and
Like-
not
like
make
what do you-
it.
what do you
Well, I
mean?
mean, if you guys, if you're sitting down watching TV and and she turns over, CNN, and you're wanting to watch Fox, and you kind of got.
Oh, that'll never happen because I don't watch either one.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you always kind of have to wonder because of their friends and family and whoever else, if they're more towards what she's, more of the Democratic side, and you're more of the Republican side. It
would have to be something that would be taken slowly. I wouldn't move quickly into it. I'd kind of feel it out, experienced sometimes in events around her family, around her friends, see how they feel about me, see how, my family treats her, which I think my family would treat them just fine. I was not raised in a racist household whatsoever. Hell, I grew up listening to all sorts of music from all over the spectrum. My mom was into like heavy R&B and that kind of thing. I remember growing up on Cooley High Harmony album from Boys to Men. So I could damn near rattle that one off to you word for word. And then my dad was more into the rock stuff. It's just like I kind of had a pretty big exposure to all of it. It doesn't bother me, and I grew up around it too. It wasn't that big of a deal.
But isn't it sad though that we have to have this kind of conversation?
Now that is. I kind of want to get into the actual poll results, but before I bring them up so we can start discussing them, I want to ask you guys that are watching, if you could answer the question for me here would you be willing to date someone outside your race, and would it be different now than it was, say, 15 years ago? Has the cultural divide changed in such a way that you would be more cautious?
I think it has.
I absolutely think it has. I'm just curious. But so let's bring up poll number 1 from Facebook. Now keep in mind this one only had 2 options. We had 157 votes came up for this one. 90% said yeah, they would. 10% said no, they would not. That was honestly about what I had expected. To be honest, I figured
Did you
it
like
would
how
be,
I used the Bo Trumps since he's so racist?
Yes, very nice, very nice. That was kind of how I expected it. Maybe 85 to 15% is kind of, if I had to throw a number at you, a guess, that's where I would have thought it would be.
So let's take a look at the comments. And see what
I
people
got them brought up. We just got to scroll down a little bit here. I actually had a good time reading the comments. Somebody said, I don't think race has anything to do with it. Whether they're crazy has something to do with it. Yeah, that's a good point. I like this one. Why does this need to be asked? So hell-bent on identity politics. And I did respond to that one. I said, we're just getting a sense of how effective or ineffective identity politics actually are.
Right.
Yeah, that's really the kind of goal here. It had nothing to do with race necessarily. My first crush was outside my race. I don't really care what culture says I should or shouldn't do with regarding to dating. Having said that, there's family culture to consider. Marriage seems difficult enough between similar family cultures. So will our differences in family culture help or hurt? That is the question. That was a fantastic comment.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic comment. I actually got a number of these. I think my husband would be upset if I started dating again.
I know. I love
what a politician's answer.
I know. All right.
Way to not answer the question, but that's all good. Some people got into whether race was a species.
People are stupid.
Yeah,
I mean,
people are
just,
stupid. I'm not even
attempt at being funny.
I'm not even going to waste time on that. But yeah, that was kind of the general feel of the conversation. Probably my favorite one was from Jessica Acker down here. She says, "My gun-loving Marine veteran Republican boyfriend is Cuban American, and no one could make me any happier." Can you bring up that picture a little bit? That's a cute couple right there.
Yeah, it is.
See, and it works. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know why people want to still in today's age act like something's wrong with it, but it does concern me that more people are starting to view something wrong with it. So,
I don't think that they're necessarily viewing anything wrong with it. I think it just becomes harder to maintain a relationship, especially if you are into politics. Now, if you're two people that aren't into politics, then maybe, hey, it'll work out for you. But let's pull up the Twitter.
Honestly, one of the biggest things in a relationship is just shared values. I mean,
it's core values.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be on politics, because if you have shared values and you have somebody who's able to think critically and willing to change their mind in light of new evidence, that's pretty much all you need. I mean, you can pretty much work anything out at that point.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what I was getting at, is that you both have to have a good sense of core values, and you have to be able to align with that. And if you can't, it's not going to work, But yeah, no, let's pull up that Twitter.
Yeah,
let's.
This one did shock me. This was pretty interesting. So basically, with today's constant cultural and racial divide, would you be willing to date someone outside your race? And the results we got, as you can see here, were
far different than Facebook.
Yeah, way different. And it's interesting. 28% said yes, 55% said no, and this is the one I found the most interesting, is that 17% said no, but 10 years ago I would.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could have some demographics for this, but it really does point to, 17% was like cool with it, but 10 years have passed and now they're like not so cool with it.
And this one was over 1,000 votes that were casted for this poll. So
it was a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
1,063 votes on that one.
This is far different than what we pulled on Facebook. Now, like I said, I think your older demographic of people are on Facebook, so I can see where that kind of went one way. This is your younger crowd, so on Twitter, and not to say, not trying to be biased here, but, I got to looking at this says no, but I would 10 years ago. To me, like I said, back during the Obama administration, because we are looking, right about 10 years ago when he first took office.
Right.
So for me, it's I think that did help. If you're looking at it from a political spectrum, that with him taking office or the possibilities of him winning the election, I think it made it more socially acceptable with being a black president. And I know it sounds weird, but I think there's a lot of truth behind it. So, and it just kind of shows you how far we've kind of come, in the last 10 years. For what 55% said no, that they wouldn't date.
Yeah, that's
outside of the
interesting.
race. But again,
that
it's
doesn't
a personal
really
preference,
right? That doesn't really have anything to do with Trump, though.
No,
that's got to do with just it's actually something's been going on for a while, and I've been kind of monitoring it and seeing this divide thing. It's not brand new. It's like as old as time itself, but it's just kind of heightened in the last probably 20 years or so. I've seen or noticed or even started paying attention to politics to notice this. But it's like everything you see in the news, keeps kind of that same general narrative. It's like this side versus that side, and between they just want to clash with each other all the time. It's wild.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to think that politics can steer a relationship or convince you to not or to date, outside of your race. But I think that there's a lot of it driven behind it that makes you decide one way or another. And I think with everything going on today, it does.
So check this out. I actually posted this on minds.com as well.
Okay.
I didn't really have the vote thing, but I did post the picture of our vote totals from Twitter over there.
Okay. Can you pull it up?
Yeah, Haley can bring it up, but it's not really. It's basically just a picture of what you saw. There's really nothing to see, nothing.
Oh, okay. No comments.
Well, there was a lot of comments.
Oh.
One guy, I had to block him because he went through and posted probably 15 different memes, pictures of completely like the most racist shit I've ever seen. Like pointing out, basically it was stuff like we had a picture of like this super hot looking blonde white woman next to some black woman that was incredibly overweight in the middle of the Nigerian jungle, and then saying, how are you going to tell me that these two people are of the same race? Like, because somebody else was saying that race ain't a thing, we're all part of the human race. He went through and posted a shit ton of shit like that. And I'm like, no, that's unacceptable. I don't block people often, and I've said it time and time again on the show, is I'm only going to block you if you're disrespectful. And in my book, that's fucking disrespectful because he wasn't trying to engage in conversation. He was just like
flat out being racist,
fire hosing his propaganda.
Wow.
All over the page. And I'm like, I'm not having that. I'm sorry. That's too far. That's way too far. I mean, if you have your hangups, your trepidation, your concerns, talk about it. I'm cool with that. We can talk about it. But if you're just going to start posting, racist memes without a single word, like, no, dude, come on.
Well, it makes you kind of wonder the age of the individual posting. And
I didn't even take the time to check. I deleted all the comments, blocked him, and moved on about my day.
Well, and it just goes to show that this is the society we still live in. There are people out there in this world.
Yeah, there's always going to be. There's always going to be those few assholes.
You can't get away from it, although it just seems, I like to think out throughout the years it's starting to dwindle. But
the problem is that for the media to sit there and pump up this shit and make it seem like everybody who is on the right is also that guy, Like, that's ridiculous. If you're going to sit there and twist the term racism to include everybody who agrees with Trump, like, that's a problem. That has totally ruined the term, so that when you use it to identify somebody who actually is like that,
A racist, yeah.
it's like it has no meaning. Like, oh, he's just another one. He's just another one. This is normal.
Well, and it just kind of points out, you know, to the narrative that the other side has been talking about when it comes to Trump supporters being racist, is because of people like that are like, oh, well, yeah, the rest of, you know, the Trump supporters are racist.
Yeah.
Look at this idiot, you know, he's being the
They're
way
all
he
like
is,
that.
you know.
It's just this guy's more open about it.
Yeah,
That's all.
he's,
That's all.
Very open.
So as we start to wrap this up here, I got a couple more links to show you here. We got I think you sent me this one, Love in the Time of Trump.
Yeah.
This was pretty interesting. I didn't know if there was a specific part you wanted to read for this, but it just talks about 3 interracial couples on how the current climate affects their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I did not read this yet, so if there was something specific that you wanted to talk to me about, or what was it about that you...
No, it just kind of, and if, you know, hopefully we'll have a link to this article for people to read up on it, but it kind of gives you the idea of what we just covered, what it's like for interracial couples to be able to date in
sorry
time.
Sorry
you know?
to interrupt, but
No,
hey,
that's fine.
our producer can copy and paste those links in the description as we go.
Yeah, that's fine. It just kind of gives people a sense of where everything is at right now, currently, you know, in America, and as far as when it comes to race and racial dating. So, but no, it basically it's 3 couples. And if you scroll down, you know, you kind of get an idea of who they are, and some of them look completely what you would not expect, and that to me, that's awesome, you know. And it's a pretty good read, and I think that I would encourage a lot of people to read up on it if you ever consider dating outside of your race, to kind of give you an idea
Go
of
back up a little bit.
how things are kind of going for them, you know. So
Go down. Sorry, down a little bit. Right where it says Jason. Jason says racial tension has changed. Trump has made it more acceptable to be racist and say racist, sexist, and overall ignorant things. I have never heard the N-word so much at work in my life. It's sad. I want to say something, but I can't because they're clients and I don't want to lose my job. They feel it's okay to talk that way around me because I'm white. It's hard for me to hold back, but I have to. Why do you have to? Dude, you don't have to work in that place. There's other options. And actually, the fact that he's being silent about it is just, it's his way of accepting it as acceptable behavior.
No,
if somebody doesn't stand up and say, hey, that's not cool, dude.
Right.
Who else is going to say it? Anyway, yeah, if you want to go through and read that, we'll have that in the description as well, with all the other links of the stuff we've been talking about tonight. While we're chatting, Miss Producer can copy and paste links into the description, please. Anyway, so the last section, I want to end this on kind of a higher note here. And this was a pretty funny link you sent me, the dating site for Trump supporters. A dating site for Trump supporters. That's interesting. And this article, I forgot what the title is. It's browsing the dating site for Trump supporters is as depressing as you'd think. It's interesting. Let me scroll down a little bit when we read a bit. Yeah, hey, you. Yes, you in the polo shirt and khakis, looking for a woman who looks just like your daughter, having trouble finding a life partner who shares your belief that aggressive groping is just an alpha male's way of saying hello, and that safety of your AR-15 is more important than the safety of your children? Well, put down the Gab account. Please, for the love of God, get off of Gab. Grab your tiki torch and MAGA hat and get ready to make America date again. Wait, what's that? Okay, well, we can already tell where this article's going.
Yeah, that's not slanted to one side.
Oh,
if
my
I've
God.
ever seen it. Holy shit! That's automatically assuming that we're racist.
No, hold on. Who's the author? Who's the author of this article here? I need to see that. It's some kind of fake red-haired lady named Katie Rife, who automatically assumes that everybody who supports Trump is
Khakis and polos.
And so I need to see it so I can say it.
Scroll
There
down.
you go. Okay, so all Trump supporters are polo shirt and khakis.
Yeah.
They want women that look like their daughters. Wait. So I guess they're all single dads?
That's assuming.
All Trump supporters are single dads? okay, they all grope women and say hello. They're all gun toting, and they're all on Gab, which that was a whole nother story we covered in a previous
Tiki
episode.
torch and MAGA hat.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got a tiki torch. I got a lighter.
It'll do.
Okay.
It'll do.
Cool.
It's not the size that matters.
No, it's not. It's a little lighter.
Let's see what we got here.
You got a lighter right there in front of you.
I do. I need to see some more article, please. There you go. So let's see. There's a new dating site catering specifically to Trump supporters, and they weren't even clever enough to come up with the tagline "Make America Date Again." Oh, that's actually sad. The site is called Trump.dating and declares it is open in its opening statement. We believe that by matching patriotic and political viewpoints as a base foundation of a relationship, it will allow one to focus on what really matters. Okay.
This site explicitly excludes LGBTQ people when signing up.
So, like, so what? Like, it's an open free market here. If that's what they want to do, then by all means, let them do what they want to do. Who gives a shit? Why do you care so much? Like, certainly there's LGBTQ specific websites.
I'm sure there is that straight people can get onto.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a market for people who are Trump supporters that just want to find other Trump supporters, and they happen to be straight men or women. I'm sure there's a market for it.
Well, yeah, but the fact that the way that if you go on to read, the fact that she had sat there and basically just I don't know, it just seems...
Let's go to this Trump.dating. I want to see this. Trump.dating. Oh, they actually gave a link to it. That's adorable. Discover love, romance, and friendship on your mobile device or desktop. Find a match within minutes.
I might sign up.
All right, so okay. Haley, we're going to make you a profile. I am a straight... Go ahead. I'm a straight... Oh, Haley is a straight man.
Oh.
All right. Username. Fuck it. Unframe of Mind it is.
Oh, this could get interesting.
Just type up random notes. It doesn't matter.
LBGQ.
Just random notes. We can change password later.
Well, you got to re-enter it, don't you? No?
I don't know. We'll find out. Enter your email address. There you go. Unframe of Mind. Country? Oh, count. No. Oh, sorry. It says country, but
States.
I guess just select one. I don't care. Fuck it. Georgia it is. Nearest city. Atlanta. Yeah, I wanted to find some...
Date of birth.
I want to find some Trumpers, pro-Trumpers out in the Atlanta area.
Let's do July 4th. Let's go back to
1776. All right, 1940.
1940.
It's as close to 1776 as we're getting. So Haley is an old-ass man from 1940. Oh, Jesus. We
got to really go through all this.
So what is your hair color, your eye color? Why does that matter? Body type, ethnicity best described. Okay, click on that one. What's the ethnicity that best describes you? White, Caucasian, Black, African-American, Latino, Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern, Scandinavian, Mediterranean, Eastern European, Western European, retarded notification. Okay. East Indian, Polynesian, American Indian, Eskimo.
I have never seen Eskimo on anything that I've ever been on.
Is Eskimo an ethnicity? I honestly didn't know.
Let's do Eskimo.
All right, let's start.
Yeah. What's your body type? Let's do...
Haley is...
Big and handsome.
Haley is big and handsome. Okay.
That is me.
Just quickly enter something so we can get past this page. 3'3".
Wow.
Single divorce.
We're gonna piss off all the midgets.
Brown eyes, blonde hair, Eskimo. A brown hair.
We got a midget Eskimo.
A blonde midget Eskimo.
Midget Eskimo.
From 1940.
From 1940. That is bald. Or balding.
Oh yeah, we're definitely picking up some dates in Atlanta on this. Oh, just
need a headline.
Just for fun.
I'm an Oompa Loompa. Will you date me?
Yeah. All right, let's start. Yeah.
It's probably got to be longer than that.
We'll find out. Congratulations. Save it. All right. What do we got?
Okay.
Well, it looks like any other dating site, except...
It's all white women.
Well, no, it ain't.
Well...
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of fake-ass hair on there. Good God. Well, I don't even know where to start on these things.
Click just
Connections.
No, I wouldn't say let's click on one because you don't want to put that person's information
Connections
out there. But
connections up top. Connections. Search? I don't know. Screw it. All right.
anyways,
This is boring. Oh, I like the logo though. Trump.dating.
Oh, with the hair, yeah.
It's got his hair on it. This seems like such a joke site. This can't be real. I wonder how much traffic this site actually gets.
Probably a lot more than we would think.
At any rate, I don't know what the problem is. Honestly, this is retarded.
I mean, I guess we could have pulled up my profile, but what the hell with it.
Yeah. Oh well. Let's we're done here. We're done here. Anyway, so we had 3 people watching. Nobody was brave enough to let us know how they feel about dating in today's day and age. That's okay. That's okay.
That's all right.
Hide back there and just stalk us from a distance. We don't mind. At any rate, so if you guys did enjoy tonight's show and you want to see more like it, or if you want to have an interesting poll question that you'd like to see us pose and respond to, that would be great. Just hit subscribe, comment, do all that funny shit, because that actually helps us reach more people. If you share this, that we really could use some help.
And interact with us, because the more you interact with us gives us topics and things that we can ask others, poll questions and other things that, you guys would like to hear us talk about.
Absolutely. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we would be glad to have you. We love having guests to talk to and people of different opinions, even different races. We do like to have people of different races. I know that's hard to believe, but we're willing to do that. We
love to dip into the crayon box. I promise you.
We will do that just for you guys. And if you want to support the show in any way, head over to unframeofmind.com/support. And there's a number of ways you can do that to help support the show.
Yep.
Whether it's a $5 a month donation to help out the show for operating costs and things like that, or you can order merchandise or just donate Bitcoin. Hell, I don't care. Anyway, that'll be all.
I'll just donate sperm.
That would be fine. We can make use of that.